Hi, everyone. This is Adam Levine Capital. Thank you for joining us this Friday afternoon, and we are super excited. So I'm a private lender. We've been private lending for over 10 years. We deal with different buckets of capital, institutional, private, and we have other gators that join us on deals. And we are here. We're talking about gator gapping. That was the segment that we've been talking about for the past few weeks. And actually, I mentioned in our last live that we did a gator gap with someone. Actually, right here, we have the guest, Willie, on here. Willie is someone that we've done multiple deals with, and we did some transactional loans. Actually, both of them were transactional loans we did. And Willie has been doing this for how long have you been?
It's about 6 years now.
6 years. Short. So everybody, we hear about short sales, and that's where you find like some of the best deals, right? It's rather complicated. And that's why I wanted to bring on Willie here, because Willie understands, and he has become very, very, he's been an authority figure in this space. I know I've met Willie through some of originally Nick Tang's events locally in New Jersey. Nick Tang runs a big RIA locally, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York. And so we're here to add value. And I wanted to bring Willie on here to explain what he does, how he sources deals, and how we use private capital to fund some of his deals. And we talk about filling gaps. We could go on to one of the scenarios that we did actually recently. It was about a month ago.
A month ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time flies. And the other deal was was it 6 months ago, I think?
About 6 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool deal we did.
It was last year, yeah. It's like around October, November.
Yeah, I'm losing track, but I won't forget those deals because through those deals, then you introduced me to a title company, which I probably have her come on eventually. And when you're doing these deals, you need to have an investor-friendly title company that understands the nuances of these transactions. So anyway, we have Willie here, short sale negotiator, working with banks, shorting and delivering really good properties to investors or for himself. And he brings these opportunities to us lenders to fund. So thank you, Willie, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about yourself and how you got started and everything.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Adam, for having me on today, and just really trying to provide as much value to the audience as possible. I was watching, this game is not that easy, and it takes, a lot of effort and persistence to really get a deal done. Right. So, I started about 6 years ago coming to Nick Tang's real estate events. Great guy. Met a lot of people, and I started a company. I'm the owner and operator of Sharp Realty Solutions. We specialize in foreclosures, short sales, loan modifications, and really just providing value to sellers, distressed sellers, right? When it comes to distressed sellers, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of effort to help them provide value, and then you get yourself a deal once it's all over. So it's been a wild ride. I learned a lot, been connecting with a lot of people, and it's great. This year is really about more. The past 6 years we've been wholesaling short sales, and now it's more about just me and Adam connected. He's a great lender, guys. Not a lot of lenders can do what Adam does, so I recommend you connect with him after this live. And every deal out there can be closed if you understand how to just get it done creatively, transparently, and communicate effectively. And Adam is just literally got his phone on him all the time. So we were able to close a couple of deals last year and this year, and the momentum is growing. So I'm happy. Adam's happy, and that's how we're here today. So it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you got started and talk about a little bit about the short sales, because I understand that it's rather complicated. It's not really simple when you're dealing with this. It really, I've heard stories where the short, where you have people that aren't really qualified to do this, and they can kind of blow up the deal. But you could talk about it more, because this, I'm not saying it's my expertise shorting banks. This is something that actually you really need someone that understands this. So that's why if you have an opportunity to short the bank, you really need someone like Willie to actually help navigate the process, because it's rather not a simple process.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so
yeah,
I really be like, so everyone understands how everything works. We've been doing this for 6 years, and I've seen it all, not all, but throughout the process, you learn a lot and you see a lot of things. So typically, New Jersey alone is the biggest foreclosure state right now out there, right? So there's tons of opportunities in foreclosures, and when you get a deal, a lot of wholesalers. My business for the past 4.5 years is strictly referral based. I do no marketing. I get a phone call every single day with a lead, with a potential deal. Sellers going to auction tomorrow. We got to stop what we're doing and cancel the auction. So my business still to this day is referral based. We're going to be starting some marketing, but I get bombarded with leads on a daily basis that I haven't really had the time to do any real marketing. So the lead typically comes in, and then you really want to just identify the urgency of the situation. So a wholesaler investor will typically bring us the lead. We'll connect immediately with the seller. If there's an active auction sale date scheduled, that's really the priority right there, right? I mean, you can't get a deal done if the bank forecloses. So we just really connect with the seller. If there's an auction, we just explain to the seller really simply. The first priority, we don't want to get into contract with you. We don't want to, know anything. We just need to really cancel the auction. And then once the auction's canceled, you basically cancel the auction. You just provide a value for the seller. So now you instantly become, your trust with the seller goes up significantly. So, you'll cancel the auction, and we'll get into how we can do that. And then you'll really just start to really peel back the onion of the situation. A lot of these sellers have been distressed for years. They've been in foreclosure for many years. They have a problem. And it's your job as a wholesaler or investor or anyone trying to get this deal to solve their problem. Add value, solve the problem. It's a win-win. You're creating win-wins for a lot of people in these transactions, guys. The banks, they rather do a short sale. They do not want to foreclose on the property and take it back. Adam's the lender. If he gives money to a borrower, he does not want he does not want to take that property back, because now it becomes a headache for him. He's not an investor like that. He's a lender. So we're providing value to banks by shorting the property, and the banks are willing to short these properties to avoid taking them back, paying the taxes, dealing with the maintenance, dealing with the township, all of that. So we add value to the bank. We add value to the seller. We help them avoid foreclosure, which can impact their credit over 7 to 10 years. So we bring in a realtor, right? We give them the listing. We bring in a title company. We bring in a buyer, an investor that wants a distressed property. And then once it's all said and done, that investor or myself will fix up the property and we'll build back the community. So we're providing win-win-wins all around by doing a short sale. So yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. Lead will come in, we'll cancel the auction if there's an auction, and then to start a short sale, you'll need to submit an application with the bank. There's a package, short sale package with the bank, and really you have to really send in every line item so they can really complete the package, and then it will go into underwriting. A lot of people doing this short sale game, they don't really understand that if the bank is telling them no for whatever reason, it's most likely because you didn't give the bank what they need to really finalize the package and then submit it to underwriting. They don't want to see a half-assed package. If you're missing a listing agreement, if you're missing a bank statement, if you're missing a signature, a date, if you didn't check a box, they go over these applications with a fine-tooth comb. So if you don't really know what you're doing, and you send in a package and they're going to decline it, people that don't know this, they'll just think the deal is over right there, and then they'll walk away, and you're not helping anyone by doing that, right? Because you didn't really know, that you missed a box. You didn't have the seller sign it You had a DocuSign when the bank wanted wet ink, right? And the person on the other line that you're calling is just a 9 to 5 employee. They don't really know what they're doing, So sometimes I'm educating them on what needs to get done. So it's a really tedious process to make sure in the beginning process, number one, if there's an active sale date, that's the priority. Cancel the sale date. And in the state of New Jersey, there's strategies to do that. We have adjournments. You have 2 adjournments, but you also have a 3rd adjournment. The plaintiff has 2 adjournments. There's many ways that we can cancel an auction. So, are you getting any questions on this live?
Yeah, let's see if anybody's asking. I know this is a lot of
yeah, it's a lot of information. I want to just make sure that I'm sure they can replay it back the tape, but
yeah, nothing yet. But yeah, please ask questions, because going back, talking about someone that's competent that understands this. So, for example, if let's say I find a distressed seller and they're not in, it's about to go to foreclosure, or, it's very close, list pendants, whatever, I'm calling Willie, because he's going to help solve their problem to prevent it, to stop the foreclosure, and then try to make a deal with the bank. And this is how you find a lot of good deals. But like I said before, you need to have the right expert to help you execute this. And there's no questions right now, but I'm sure they're going to pop up.
Absolutely. Yeah, foreclosures are a great way to get good deals, guys. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Everyone's saying like the market is just slow and there's not really that many deals, but there's opportunities everywhere. Most of my deals that people are in foreclosure, they're at the end of the line where the house is scheduled. There's an auction scheduled. People that, I guess there's some people out there that target homeowners that had just received the list pendants notice in the beginning. And in the state of New Jersey, New York, the banks won't foreclose for years. So the sellers are not really motivated in the beginning. It's only when, from my experience, when there's an auction date scheduled, you really find those sellers that are just motivated, but they need help still solving their problem. You have to really, where are they going? They don't want to leave the house because they don't have a place to go to. So what we do is, we'll find them an apartment. We'll fix their credit. We'll get very creative to get them out of the house and onto their next chapter. And those are really the best sellers to work with, when we can find them. We can start their new chapter even before the deal has closed, right? And there's ways to do that and really build a great, strong relationship with these distressed sellers by providing value to them. And if you just really understand the end of the transaction, which I can kind of like now doing this over and over, I can predict what the outcome is going to be. So I can kind of do things that, more like not so conventional, because I'm confident where we'll get the deal done. So, but for the basics, it's really connect with a seller, distressed seller, cancel. If there's any auction, cancel it, get rid of it. And then you start the application process. If anyone needs any type of documents, absolutely reach out to me. We can get you the package, and really just make sure that you don't want to get into a situation where you're helping a seller and then the bank tells you no. And then it's like, all right, well, the bank told me no. So you got to go to the seller and say, all right, the only option is to get foreclosed on, when that's just not the case. It's really sad. A lot of these deals, wholesalers or whoever, realtors, I'll tell you a funny story. We had a deal last year, and I was looking for a house for myself. So my realtor was taking me around Middlesex County, and we were looking at houses on the market. He pulled a list, houses, open house, a weekend. We go to this house, and we had no idea that was even in foreclosure. The house was listed for sale with a real estate agent it was listed for 6 months. We walk in the house, and immediately I can sense something, because, the seller was older, in her 80s. She had about maybe like 10, 15 cats in the house. The house was kind of distressed. And, but it was a regular Sunday open house. The realtor wasn't there at all, just the seller, and we walked around, and after building rapport with the seller, we discovered that she's actually has an auction date scheduled in 2 weeks. She's losing the house in 2 weeks. There's no language on the MLS about this listing that it's in foreclosure. It's a short sale. There was no indication the realtor was selling it traditionally. And she was underwater, going to auction in 2 weeks. So right there on the spot, we called her bank right there. And we were able to get her into a forbearance plan on the spot, canceling the auction right there and kicking the can down the road 6 months. And we did that just without any questions. And she was so thankful. It was like, all right, I'm calling my realtor. I'm firing him. You guys, I need your guys' help, blah, blah, blah. But she was so happy and relieved because she was so worried about her cats and if she was going to get kicked out of the house. And she was working with rescue groups and she didn't really know what she was going to do. 80-year-old woman. So we got into a forbearance. We canceled the auction. And then we said, we'll be back in 48 hours once you talk to your real estate agent and, you withdraw your listing because obviously she didn't know what the hell they were doing. So they withdraw the listing. We come back, we get our package filled out, and we're getting ready to submit it to the lender. The next day we submit, we relist the property now as a short sale. And then about 4 days later, I get a call from her neighbor, which is actually one of her good friends. She passed away only four days later after we left the house. And it was really weird because it made me feel like, well, maybe like she died in peace, right? Because prior to us meeting her, she had anxiety, she was very stressed out, and she was really upset. And we were able to provide some value and comfort to her by making her keep her house and giving her solutions. And then she wound up passing away only a couple of days later. And it made me feel like she died in peace. It was very sad. And, it was a crazy story, but
yeah,
very, very crazy. And now, we still actually working on the deal. It's turned into a probate now, which we also do a lot of probates, a lot of foreclosures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of foreclosures. We get probates all the time. I have about 4 right now that we're doing. And, probate is another interesting game too. And to really understand the probate process and to connect with a seller or an heir, you have to really stop the bleeding first with a probate. So, we connected with her kids that are in California. They don't want nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. So we're still working on it, but it made me feel really good that we were able to actually come in there out of nowhere, and help this lady. And right before she passed away, she died in peace.
That's nice.
She was in the house. So crazy story, crazy.
You actually really care about the people you're working with. You're solving problems, you're helping them, which is really nice.
You have to have a passion for it. You have to really, go above and beyond for people. And if you do that, you will really get a lot of fulfillment in this game because, these deals that we do, we put a lot of effort, we go above and beyond, and we connect with our distressed sellers on a level that you wouldn't believe. And in return, they go on their next chapter and we get a great deal out of it too. So it's a win-win, really is. It's really cool.
Yeah. So anybody ask questions, shoot away. So let's talk about one of the deals we did. The first one, I know it was actually, we gave you a transactional. Let's talk about that, how you got that and how it came to me eventually, like the strategy of this is now the Gator lending in a way, transactional lending.
Mm-hmm.
Why, like how you got that deal and why you had to use our service to execute it because you had to sell that to a retail buyer, which is that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was a great deal. So that deal came in from a door knock. One of our agents, great door knocker. She found that lead, and we connected with the seller. It was a short sale in foreclosure, going to auction. We did exactly what I tell everyone to do. We canceled it on an active auction, and then we got right to work on working with the bank, negotiating a deal. And we when you do a short sale, everything is time. Time is of the essence because you're in a race with the bank to foreclose, And, there's guidelines in place that you really need to understand. And, you want to get the deal closed before the bank either declines the short sale, or there's no option for a short sale, or they're ready to foreclose on you. So someone like Adam really provides that service to us where we need money quick to close. And he was actually able to do that. So, we had a deal that we had a retail buyer. We were under contract with it, ready to close. And we, at the same time, we were able to connect with, I believe it was a FHA buyer, or no, it was a conventional loan. And we were able to close on, I think it was Monday. And then we borrowed money from Adam. 5 days, I think you gave us the money for. It was about 5 days.
Yeah, I remember you posted on Facebook. I believe Gracie, my wife, told me that you needed a lender, a transactional lender.
Oh yeah. So this was the part where I loved. This is why I really like preach about how when I called Adam, this is when you were in the gym.
Yeah, I was working out.
Random day on the weekend, and Adam picks up his phone. I'm like, Adam, I'm in a bit of a jam. I need to close this deal ASAP. And Adam's in the gym, like just working out, and took the call. And with very quickly, Adam was able to really get us closed. It was like 48 hours later, right? From taking the call.
I think you called me up maybe we spoke on a Monday, and then we funded it on a Tuesday, I believe.
Or Tuesday or Wednesday, because we paid back either the Friday or the Monday.
So what happened was there was, this is interesting where you could go to, but it was a holiday weekend, so it had the payback was on a Tuesday. The only reason why we never got paid back, it was supposed to be, I think, from Tuesday to Friday, but I'll let you highlight why, because usually double closings, same day transaction. This one, there was seasoning requirements. You had to take title for 3 days.
We had a whole title, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Our attorneys advise us that if we're going to do a double close, we need to at least season it for 3 days. That's exactly right. We couldn't do a traditional, even though there was no deed restrictions in our short sale approval. Short sales do come with deed restrictions. You have to hold the property for 90 days. There was no deed restrictions, but our attorneys advised us to, just for regulations, take title for 3 days. And we actually did fix up the property. We cleaned up some landscaping and the outside. So we put a little a TLC into the home before we resold it only 3 days later. And this can only happen, guys, with people that actually pick up their phones and communicate effectively. You cannot have people, and that's where Adam is just a complete, totally different than other lenders. I mean, he does have his process, but it's very easy to work with him. Where we were only able to do that with to get this thing done in 3 days. So
I mean, the one thing that made it clean for lenders is that Willie's very transparent with the whole process. Put me in contact with the title company. We actually formed a relationship with the title company, with the lady. And everything was very clean in the email chain. And he actually put us on title. And that's what protected us. There was a large enough spread in there from his contract price to the sale price. And the buyer, that's what it was. They had to get funded because they were getting a conventional or loan. I mean, it was a consumer loan.
You needed to know that their money was in escrow, basically. Because
So, and then it's like, okay, well, my concern was what happens if the lender backs out of the deal? Well, then there's the second exit would be you would have another buyer. But the thing that protected us, the lender, was I forgot the spread in there, the delta between the actual contract price and the as-is value. But there's a big enough spread in there where if he had to, let's say, fire sale it to get us out, we'll be okay on the deal.
That was a six-figure deal. It was a great deal, and there was well enough spread where we had multiple backup buyers. But when you're when first communicating with the lender, they don't want to hear that, right? They want to just make sure that the current buyer that you are flipping it to is guaranteed. And I really wasn't able to really give him a guarantee, but because of Adam's ways and mindset and the communication, the transparency with all parties involved, we were able to get it done.
Yeah. And I know Willie. Look, everybody works different. I know his ethics. I understand that he knows what he's doing, but the transparency with the title company, transparency with all the documents, putting us on title, understanding, it's a local deal in New Jersey. It wasn't somewhere that we didn't know. Obviously, if we're dealing with different counterparties, it could make it challenging to make the deal. But really, at the end of the day, this, typically double closings, you have money in escrow from the buyer, then you close, and then A to B, B to C a transaction. This was different because there was seasoning. We took title, but I just understood the mechanics, understood the risk, I understood how to mitigate risk. Mitigate risk is, in my view, we were on title, and when in order to sell this property, I actually had to sign documents. I forgot what it was called. Actually, that was a little bit of a pain because I remember I had to go run to the bank, get it notarized.
The promissory note.
Yeah. No, there was because I was on title, they had to release me from title.
Well, was it it was either the promissory note or what other document that we signed?
No, it was because I was on title with you, so I forgot what it's called, but they had to release me from it, the title.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I forget, but I remember it was something that I had to do for the title company.
Okay.
And I remember I had to go run to the bank. I had to get it notarized, signed, and I had to ship it out. Make sure it was in the mail.
But you see it right there, all that extra work, that legwork that you have to do. A lot of lenders are not going to do that, right? That's why it's pretty cool to really,
Yeah, because I remember it was a morning. I was in the gym in the morning. You called me, and I look at the end of the day, like this deal seemed interesting. And actually, for me, I just got paid back from a loan from someone, and I was like, this is good. I can put money to work really quick, and so that was one interesting deal. And just to refresh, why was the seasoning again for 3 days? I might have missed that.
Because whenever it's a short sale, a lot of title because there was so much fraud with short sales back in 2008. A lot of title companies are real. Whenever they hear a short sale, it raises a red flag, and they want to make sure that they're doing everything ethically and legally. So our attorneys advised us, make sure you take title minimum 3 days, just to really satisfy the regulators in the event something would come back. So, and that's exactly what we did, which was no issue. If we would have held it even longer, which we could have, we would have just wound up communicating that to you, and we would have worked out whatever structure that was. But our attorneys advised us that even though there was no deed restrictions, there was no deed restrictions in this approval letter, but our attorneys advised us that season it for a couple of days. So that's what we did, just to really double protect ourselves in the event, an audits happen, right? So we complied with our attorneys, and we got it done.
Yeah, that was a good deal. Actually, would like to get more of those. I mean, so then we had another one we did about a month ago, where it was a different scenario. That was a deal that you had. Was that a short sale? What was that?
It was a reverse. It was a reverse mortgage short sale / probate.
Got it.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit how that deal came, and then we could talk about how we came in to fill the gap.
Yeah. So this deal was in Massachusetts. I'm doing this nationwide, guys. So I'm negotiating short sales nationwide. So this deal was in Massachusetts, and we got that deal from a referral, and we were negotiating the short. This deal took about 1.5 years to complete. This was a long, challenging deal because let me tell you why. It's funny. I just talked about the other story about a seller dying, and with this deal, we were negotiating the short sale, and a couple months into it, the seller, she was already in a nursing home. The property was vacant, but it had a squatter in there. So, which we were starting the process to evict the squatter, and learning the whole process of that eviction in another state. But while we were in the middle of the short sale, the seller in the nursing home, she wound up passing away. So she wound up passing away in the middle of the deal. So the deal came to a halt and immediately froze right there. When someone passes away, you have to really stop. And depending on if there's a will or it has to be probated, that's exactly what has to happen in the moment. So we had to stop the short sale. We had to file a probate, and we still had to deal with the squatter. And about a couple of weeks after she passed away, the squatter actually wound up going to the hospital as well. And unfortunately for him, he passes away too. So we had 2 deaths in the process of the deal, which really delayed things. But we were able to get the property vacant. We didn't have to go through an eviction. We just had, there's certain documents that have to be filed, obviously. And then once we completed the probate, then we started the deal up again and initiated the short sale again. And then we were able to get an approval. And, I was going to actually wholesale this deal, but we had a buyer. And then it just really made sense to really buy it myself. So I decided to buy it myself. And that's really where, when I started the process of buying it myself, I needed a hard money lender. And before me coming to Adam, I went to 2 hard money lenders that really just strung me along for a month, wasted my time, wasn't communicating correctly, wasn't emailing me what they needed in a timely fashion, and were just really telling me they can do something where they really couldn't. They sent me a term sheet in the beginning of the process, and then a couple of weeks later, the term sheet changed significantly with no explanation. We talked about transparency, and when you do that, you lose trust in the other party that you're working with, and you don't really you lose like the whole feeling changes, right?
Mm.
So and we had an approval letter after everything that happened. The son wanted this to be over with after losing his mom and really a year and a half working with us. I wasn't about to let the deal die because we had a deadline. We didn't close on that day. The short sale was over. It was expiring, and we weren't going to get another extension, and they were going to foreclose. So after being strung along by a couple other hard money lenders, I call Adam again. And in a panic, Adam, I need you to really help me out, blah, blah, blah. And once again, he dove into it. His team is really like spot on. Emails come in, very communicative, simple process. Click here, click there. It's very easy to work with him. So after analyzing the deal and everything, he realized that he wasn't able to actually fund me as a borrower to actually take it down as a fix and flip. So instead of just saying no to me, he was actually kept the conversation going to see how we can actually make this work.
Yeah, and sorry to cut you off, but there's a few things transparency that we get into. So let's step back why we couldn't fund it though, and the reasons why was because what happens is it's all about showing a demonstrated track record, right? And what happens is like when a lender takes information, so when you could be a wholesaler, realtor, contractor, and you could have experience in transactions, right? The caveat is in order to show proof of experience of actually being let's say you're doing a fix and flip, you actually need to show proof that you're on the deal through HUDs. You're buying under an entity. You got to be able to trace it that you're an owner. And so I believe what happened was with that lender, they probably gave you terms, but they didn't really look into your track record. And then when it came to later on, when you're in the process, oh yeah, we'll probably give you maybe the 90-100, whatever, 10% down. But then when it came to verifying your track record, you're already so far on in the process, and that's when they changed the terms.
Right.
So what we learned is, okay, you fill out a quick quote. You're going to put in, I did 10 plus deals. You'll get an automated email, the verified information. You'll get a little Excel file. It's basically a schedule of real estate owned to basically where you're putting in your track record in there. So then we can verify that you can actually so we want to basically verify that you have that tracker because we want to avoid any surprises that could happen later on.
Yep.
That's what we learned. What with other lenders, they missed that.
Yep.
And that's what happened. They never verified it. They probably went through the whole appraisal process, went through the whole process. And then when they're asking, you're already so far in.
Well, no, they didn't even they should have did that. They didn't even do that. They did no appraisal. They didn't communicate about, they didn't even follow up with, I saw you followed up and verified the experience. They never even got to that point to even, that's what made me feel like, that's not even the reason. So, but you actually did that. So that's exactly right. And that's another reason why it's really a learning. Now that I'm getting away from wholesaling and actually taking down these properties myself, it's a learning experience, right? I'm learning the ways on how to actually get it done and what you need to look like from a borrower's perspective, and see if you're actually bankable and track records and all that. So it's all good learning experiences for me. And actually, go ahead.
So we can lend to beginners, but experience determines your leverage. So what happens is you could have been approved for that loan, but what happened was your track record, based upon what they thought and what the actual, that's why they changed. But they did it way later in the process where it should have been in the beginning.
And I had a deadline, right? I had to close on a certain day, and it creates anxiety, right? And you're letting a lot of people down, and you put a lot of work into it. So only lose the deal by working with a lender that's really not communicating and really staying on top. It was unfortunate, but.
And then the appraisal process is something you should do in the beginning if you're going to order an appraisal. That's like the first thing you do. You sign a term sheet, you kick it off, you order an appraisal. So what happened there?
I'm new to that. There's probably a lot of people, wholesalers, that want to buy a property. How does that process start off? Like what you just said, it kicks off. A lot of people don't know how that even looks like to start a loan application, and really the steps to really getting from A to Z. If you can really, because that was new to me. It was really interesting to see how it's supposed to be versus just all over the place.
Yeah, and that's what we learned, obviously, from the we're trying to find two things from the beginning, because like I mentioned earlier, someone submits a quick quote, they can put whatever track record they want. Maybe they own a bunch of rentals, maybe they did this, but then you got to verify it. And that's what we like to do in the beginning, just to really make sure that we're not putting anybody in harm's way. Because at the end of the day, you're going through the whole process, and you're risking deposit dollars. You're spending money on appraisal. We're doing our, and obviously we're putting resources, and it really, we want to. That's what we learned. It really prevents these surprises that could happen. And so on that deal, what ended up happening was, you wanted to take title ownership, and you were short, was it like $30,000, something like that?
So it was. That's exactly right. It was $30,000.
Yeah, because you showed me like your bank account, how it was. The money was there, but it was in float, right? Because it has to clear, so it has to take a few days. You're like, I had the money. I just deposited into the bank. You show it to me.
Yeah, my bank screwed me because I had the money. It's I had a deposit, and now banks take forever, to actually release the funds, right?
Yeah.
So that's really where you came in clutch.
Yeah. So then what happened was, it was a little bit different of a deal. You had majority of the money. Let's say you had.
Well, the purchase price, the purchase price was 200.
Yeah,
200. We had 170.
Correct. Basically. So we filled in the gap, gave a gap in 30 grand. The payback was when your money cleared the bank after the float, it cleared, then you would pay us back. So we funded it on.
It was literally,
Thursday.
I think it was Friday, or because I paid it back on Wednesday, I believe.
Oh, it was a Wednesday. I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday. And you paid it back a week later.
literally, like, yeah, we had the weekend. It was like 5 days. I needed 5 days. Whether, yeah, let me. I could tell you exactly how long, but tell tell them, why would you do a deal like how does a lender even do a deal like that to really risk 30 grand? And that's really where this Gator lending.
Yeah, so I mean, so this deal was a little bit different. It took a little bit of trust in a way, because would I do this with anybody? Probably not. I probably wouldn't, because there was some level of risk. The risk was that you're telling the truth, that this is a real snapshot of your bank account, of the money being there, that it was going to hit your account. And so that's what level of integrity. I knew Willie. I knew he's honorable. He has good character, and I knew the deal was a good deal.
Yeah, it was
as
6.
well.
It was 6 days. March 7th, gave it to me. I gave it back to you on March 13th.
Correct.
Yep.
And it again, like, if this was something with someone else, other than Willie, in a market, that it would be definitely more challenging to pull the trigger to make that happen. But we already done deals before. I know that you know what you're doing, and I know that you're being honest about what's happening. That's why I felt comfortable with it. It made sense to me, like, because I understand when you deposit money, there's a float. I used to work at a bank, so I understand, like, it takes, like, it take like 3 days or a week for that money to clear. And to me, it made sense. Obviously, if you're a lender, you can look at the, let's say, 4 C's, credit, collateral, character, capacity, character, right? If I didn't feel good about your character, I wouldn't do the deal. It's not worth it, right? I know you have the capacity. I know you have money. Credit. I know your credit's good. So it just made sense to me, this deal. If I didn't have a good feeling, I wouldn't do it. I definitely pass on more deals than I make. And that's just the nature of the game. You're gonna be passing on more. I get a lot of weird scenarios that come to me. They look good. A lot of these loans look attractive, but people get screwed, and so you got to turn down more. But Willie's a stand-up guy. I understand his business. I understand his integrity, his character, and that's why I went with him on this deal. And we got it done. Again, everything was very transparent. And then you were going to take it down yourself, and I said, hey, I can help you package it with a loan to flip to another buyer. But you actually found your buyer, which is really cool. And so you wholesaled that one, right?
We held it. We took title for 30 days. I paid you back within the 5 days, and then we had we took it, and we were considering flipping it, but again, being that I'm new to the fix and flipping game, it didn't make sense, financial sense, to really do it, because we flipped it 30 days later, and we made a really good fee on it, right? I guess you would call it a double close, or actually, no, it's a buy and a sale, right? It's not a wholesale. You
sold retail, or
no? We sold it to an investor. And we bought it March 7th and closed on it April last week. We sold it April 10th. So literally 30 days. 30 days to close on it, and now I can use that capital for other deals. But my goal was to really, build that track record up with fix and flipping, learn that game, which I still am moving forward with that game too, because then those types of deals, I can come back to Adam, and then I have the experience and get the full.
And that's the one thing, like, with us, like, we like to have relationships. We have a lot of repeat clients, where someone brings us a deal, we know that the deal, it's presented the proper way, it makes sense, and for us, we appreciate that, and it makes it easier to make decisions. And there's so then that goes back to, like, a lot of wholesalers, they want to transition to become flippers, and when you come to a lender and you're like, oh yeah, I have lots of experience, and you submit a quick quote, and it's gonna say, oh, what's your experience level? And you're like, yeah, you wholesale like more than 10 deals. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, in order to qualify, let's say you're doing a fix and flip, we could lend to beginners. Most lenders, I mean, could lend to beginners, but you're probably going to have to put down like 25 to 30% down on the purchase. And keep in mind, like if you want to qualify for, let's say, a standard loan, no perks, no gap funding. Your other lender probably told you they'll give you 90, 100, meaning they're giving you 90% of the purchase, 100% construction, up to 70% after repair value. And that's where, in order to qualify for that, at least with us, you need to show at least 6 similar deals with similar rehab budgets, where you could show that you bought, you renovated, you sold or refinance. I mean, or you just held it. Maybe it was all cash, doesn't matter. But at least like you could show like similar rehab budgets, because, for example, if you're like, yeah, I've done like, 25,000 renos, and you're coming to me with a, your 6 deal, you said, maybe you did 6 deals, let's say, they're all $25,000 renos, but now you got one that's 150,000.
That wouldn't really count.
It's like maybe we'll think about the 90, 100, maybe we'll go 85, because it's such an anomaly, 25 to 150,000.
Right.
So that's just at a lender's perspective, what they're looking at. But that's something to think about.
Well, we could also bring in a partner, right? That has the experience.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too, is you could, if you want to fast track your way to gaining that leverage, you can bring on a partner, which we advised on one of your deals, which you brought to us, was rather a large rehab budget.
Yep.
Greater than 150. So that will help make the deal happen. Also, because instead of having less leverage, you're gonna have you'll qualify with most likely like 85, 100 with someone with experience. Right. Reason being is because anything with us, anything over 150,000 reno, we subtract the leverage. If you're 90, 100, it'll become like 85, 100 over 150,000. This is like pretty much standard. And talking about gator gapping, like, do you use any types of like business credit cards, business?
Absolutely.
How do you secure? Yeah.
Absolutely. I leverage business credit for everything. I mean, I have 0% interest with Chase, Bank of America, Truist Bank for 12 months. I'm leveraging that right now.
These are credit cards or
business credit cards. Yeah.
What do you use? Plastics to convert it to cash?
So no, I actually have. It's Fair Harbor. Fair Harbor is another. I have for my car rental business. I use that for my. I have that as a. So it's the same thing, a form of plastic and Square, PayPal. It was I was getting it actually for 1.8%. So I liquidated the cards through my car rental business platform with Fair Harbor as the company, and they charged 1.8%. So it was very cheap to liquidate. I think I liquidated 100,000. It cost maybe it was like $1,800. But then they raised it to 3%. Once you go over a certain limit, they raise it. So I'm at 3% now, which Square, PayPal, they're all the same now. It's 3% anywhere you go. But that's really the way to liquidate the card. And it's very, you apply for a business credit card. It starts with your personal credit, right? Personal credit's got to be on point. And, Chase will give you a Chase Inc. card and the Chase Unlimited card for each LLC. I have four cards, 2 and 2 on 2 different LLCs. So it's. I mean, guys, if you're gonna need cheap capital, I mean that's the cheapest you're gonna get. 0 interest, and it's a great way to leverage to buy real estate. It's real. So absolutely.
Well, because we were talking about this on another segment. We had Joe Lawrence on here 2 weeks ago talking about building business credit and using business credit, like unsecured business lines of credit and credit cards to fund your real estate deals. And that's why I'm asking, because I'm figuring like that's the only way you can scale. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, it doesn't hit your personal credit, number one. So your debt to income ratio is never, its utilization rate is never high, and you're paying, on on a $25,000 card, you're making the minimum payments, only principal, no interest for 12 months. So my minimum payment is $250. So I'm paying about $1,000 a month on $100,000 4 cards, right? That I liquidated, which is very cheap.
That's 12%.
Yeah, I mean, I have
Well, you said
4 cards, 25,000 a card. So I liquidated 4 cards, 0% interest, and the minimum payment is $250 per card. So that's
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
There's no interest until 12 months. I have until next year to pay it back. Right.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then the game is really, you just apply for another. If let's say I use this money for a fix and flip, and I'm not done by when I have to pay it back in full, you can apply for another business card and pay back that card, and really extend it for another 12 months. In essence.
Oh, you just roll it to another card.
You pay off the card. You apply for another card. And again, this is going to base off your personal credit. If you get approved for another card, right? But you can very easily go to another bank, get approved. If you owe Chase $25,000 and it's the 12th month, they want the full $25,000. Otherwise, you'll have to pay all that interest for 12 months.
Yeah.
You go to another bank, get approved for another 0% interest card, liquidate it, pay off Chase. Now you just extended it for another 12 months.
So you're paying, let's say you have 100,000, you're paying 1,000 a month. That's what I was thinking, but yeah, you're just making minimum payments. That's right. You're not paying interest. You're just making a minimum payment. So
minimum payment.
I'm thinking your monthly payment as if interest, but it's not. You just have to. That's smart.
Right. It's just it's just principle. It's principle. So it's get approved for 25,000 per card, and you're paying $250 a month. And now you have 12 months to take that 25,000, invest it in real estate, invest it in marketing, in your business, and flip it before the 12-month comes around, and pay back Chase. Or if you get stuck and you need the money for a little bit longer, apply for another card and pay back that card. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Do you have unsecured business lines of credit, or are you just using credit cards right now?
No, but I have not tapped into that, and I have a lot of equity in my houses that I don't really know how business lines of credit works, and I have no business lines, but I need to learn about that and get some.
Talk to Joe Lawrence. He teaches people how to do it. Yeah. Watch the YouTube video we had 2 weeks ago. If you watch that, you'll gain. You can actually take his action steps there, because basically you need an entity with the right name.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. The banks have data points, right? So you want to make sure, first of all, they want to see your business in 2 years in business. The right name, your NCIS code needs to be low risk. You want to put it as marketing. There's a certain code for that.
Correct.
They're going to give you the max amount. I got approved. Some guys are getting approved for a Chase Inc. card, 50, 75, 100. I got approved for 25K 4 times, 4 different cards. But there's guys out there, because the way their business is structured and the certain data points on having a website, having a business phone number, actual location, right? That's going to help you get max approval.
Correct.
So I'm definitely going to, because business.
Yeah, that's what I want to look into. I'm missing the boat. I feel like, because
you don't have any business. You don't have any business lines.
I do.
Credit cards?
I do, but I have not used it the way you guys use it.
You can literally use that money to borrow. I mean, because now it's you're not paying any interest on it, right? I mean, if you had,
that's what Pace Warby teaches. The Gators, don't use your money, build business credit, and use that to Gator lend.
It's a no-brainer. I don't. Yeah, it's. I mean, 0% interest for 12 months, and then there's ways to extend it for 24 months. So if you can't take $100,000 and flip that in 24 months over and over, I mean, there's something wrong. But it's a great way to scale and grow your business.
And that's helping you grow your
absolutely. Business. Yeah. I mean, I use my American Express card. I'll use Facebook ads, right? I'll do ads for my car rental business, and then every time I use the Amex, I get points on the Amex. So I'm
Correct.
using the Amex for my business to grow my business. And at the same time, the Amex is giving me points where I can actually use the points and convert those points into dollars, where in essence, I can just, once I build up enough points, I can use those dollars for whatever I need.
I do the same thing. I
The
try to
great-
get
yeah,
cash
it's-
back, points.
most people, I think especially when they're starting out in real estate wholesaling, they think they need, we're taught we need 20% down, right, to buy a house. They have a 9 to 5. When I started real estate, I had a 9 to 5, and I was like, I got to work 80, 90 hours to ever save up 20%, $80,000, $50,000 to buy a house. When you don't, that's not it's the outdated mindset to think you need money to buy a house. You just need someone else's money, and the bank will give it to you. But you got to really
good credit. You need good credit.
you got to work on your credit. Starts with your
Yeah.
personal credit. So, a lot of people just they don't want to fix their own situation, and all you got to do is just fix your credit, and you can leverage the heck out of it. So
Yeah, that's what I heard too. It's like Joe mentioned, the first thing he did, because he was funding his flips on his personal credit card.
I'll
So
give you an example. Hold, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but like when we got into these loans, Adam, you ran my credit, right?
I don't remember if we did or not. We usually
okay. No, I think either you. Well, the other hard money, they ran my credit, right?
Yeah.
And they pulled from Experian. Okay,
Correct.
so they ran my credit. They pulled from Experian, putting a hard inquiry on my credit report, and I didn't even go with them. I didn't get the deal. So inquiries. If you have too many inquiries on your each bureau, right? You're allowed 3 inquiries: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. What I do is every time I apply for credit, I instantly, the same day or the next day, I call up Experian. I remove that inquiry right away. Experian will remove your inquiry. Any inquiries that are on your for not active accounts. You have to do is make sure if it's an inactive account, meaning you applied for a credit at a bank or a loan, you didn't get approved, but now that inquiry is on your credit. That inquiry is going to have a negative impact on your score, and when you go to actually apply for other products. So I instantly will call up Experian, and they will literally remove that inquiry within a couple of hours. Max 24 hours. TransUnion and Equifax take about 30 days. It's a little harder with them, but yeah, it's inquiries will. You need to have no inquiries if you're really going to want to maximize how much money the bank is going to give to you.
That's interesting. I never knew you could actually call Experian and have them remove inquiries. That's something new.
Absolutely. The credit game is wild. It's very wild. So
anybody have questions on here? We've been on here for quite some time. We started, almost about an hour.
No.
Anybody have questions while we have Willie on here? I know he's very busy. He's got more banks to short and appropriate deals to
promises, fires to put out. But I appreciate you having me on, Adam. This was great. I hope people watching this get value from it. Connect with me, connect with Adam. I'm an open
How can they
book.
get a hold of you?
You can connect with me on Instagram, Sharp Realty Solutions. You can my phone number, if you want to put it in the chat anywhere. You can call me, text me, 347-417-3190. Call me. That's my direct cell. And connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, email me, whatever. I'm out there.
And do you pay, like, let's say I have an opportunity from a distressed seller and I want to have you negotiate with the bank. You pay, like, you is it like a referral program or anything like that?
Yeah, we definitely have a program. So a lot of our referrals are from investors and realtors and wholesalers. So what I typically do is the lead comes in. I give whoever's bringing the lead, I give you 2 options. You can either be the buyer. We'll negotiate the deal. We'll get you a great price to buy this deal, and then you can go to Adam and get the money to actually close on it. And I'm going to charge you as the buyer a processing fee I'm going to charge you a processing fee, and you're going to get a great deal out of it. If you can't close on the property, we don't allow wholesalers to wholesale our short sales. Just too complicated to have a third-party wholesaler. So we'll give a referral fee to that person if they can't close on it. So we'll give you the option to be the buyer, or if you can't be the buyer for whatever reason, we'll give you a $2,500 referral fee for just bringing the lead at closing. So whichever way you want to do it, that's really it's been working out a lot in the past. So there you go.
Thank you. So my dog was barking. So I had to like mute myself. Working from home. He saw he sees people. So anyway, thank you so much. So everybody, if you need help with you want to see terms, you could go to our website. Let me show you real quick what it looks like. We keep on fine-tuning the website right here. Once you open up the page, right? I mean, you always have the chat bot over here where let me open it up. But generally, I gotta restart this. But generally, when you open it up, you'll have multiple options. But now we have this floating what do you call this thing right here? I'm trying to think. Floating, I forget what you call this. But it pops up and you submit this, right? Or you go to this page too, right? So let's say you go to the private lending page, but everything is actually on the chat bot. For some reason, it's not showing. Oh, you know what? If you go here, more up. Wait, I forget, but I guess it's I gotta chat with our tech guy because usually
it's actually the realtor for that deal that I told you about, the one that has foundation issues. So I'm gonna hop off and take this call.
Yeah.
I will call you back once I get.
We're done. Yeah, everybody. Thank you so much, Willie. We'll see you later. We're wrapping up now. Take care.
1 second.
Hey everyone. So we're wrapping up right now. If you need a quick quote, you can go here and you can submit it. It takes less than 5 minutes. You can become one of our referral partners. You can also put if you're a broker or if you're a gator, and you could submit us a deal. If you want to book a meeting, you can go here. Feel free to book a meeting with us. You need a proof of funds. It's automated. It's free. All you have to do is just plug in the information and put your name, entity, email, the loan amount you're requesting. You'll get a proof of funds in less than a minute. If you want to run economics of a deal, fix and flip calculator, you can come here. And like I said, if you need a quick quote, it's all here. Everything, we try to direct everybody to the chat bot. That's where we try to make it very easy for you. And so everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next week. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye now.